Train Station. I'm your host, Trevor Shelley. Over the past few stops on our journey, we explored the birth of the railroad, the powerful age of steam, and the moment locomotives began fading from the rails. But today we arrive at one of the most legendary chapters in the railroad history, a project so ambitious that many believed it was impossible, a railroad that would connect the United States from coast to coast. Before this railroad existed, traveling across America could take months. Dangerous wagon trails, mountain passes, deserts, and unbreakable weather. But one project would change everything. Today stops. The Transcontinental Railroad. America before the railroad. In the early 1800s, the United States was expanding rapidly westward. New territories were operating. Gold had been discovered in California. Cities were growing along the Pacific coast. But there was one major problem. The country was enormous. Traveling from East Coast to California was extremely difficult. People had three main options. They could travel by wagon across the dangerous trails like the Oregon Trail. They could sail around South America, which could take months. Or they could travel by ship to Panama and crossing the Isthmus before boarding another ship. None of these options were fast or safe. The United States needed a fast way to connect the nation. The answer was a railroad that would stretch across the continent. The Pacific Railway Act. In 1862, during the American Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln signed an important piece of legislation, the Pacific Rail Act. Abraham Lincoln, let's give you guys a little background of Abraham Lincoln, which you already know, was the 16th President of the United States. This law authorized the construction of a Transcontinental Railroad. Two companies were given the job. The Union Pacific Railroad would build westward, starting from Omaha, Nebraska. The Union Pacific Railroad, Central Pacific Railroad, would build eastward, starting in Sacramento, California. Some more facts about the Union Pacific Railroad, guys. The Union Pacific Railroad is a major class light railroad and the principal operating company of the United Pacific Corporation. It operates one of the largest rail networks in the United States, linking the west two-thirds of the United States, serving as a critical part of the national and global supply chain. Key facts: type freight railroad, principal subsidiary of United Pacific Corporation. Founded in 1862 by the act of the U.S. Congress to help the first Continental Railroad. The headquarters of it is in Oklahoma, Nebraska. Network: 32,000 route miles across 23 states, 73 communities served, 7,300 community servers. Current CEO, Jim Van, as of 2023-2026. Which you guys know, that's a really cool fact you learn. And then this Central, read you some facts about that. The Central Pacific Railroad was a historical American railroad company chartered in 1861 to build the western portion of the first Transcontinental Railroad. It played a played a central role in uniting the United States to the coast, linking Sacramento with Omaha. Via the Union Pacific Railroad, it commissioned in 1869 marked a defining moment in United States international and transportational history. Guys, here's some little key facts for you guys. Founded in June 28, 1861. Founders: Collis P. Huntington, Leon Stanford, Mark Hopkins, Charles Crocker. The headquarters is in Sacramento, California. Competition of Transcontinental Line, May 10th, 1869, Promontory, Utah. Merged with Southern Pacific Railroad, 1959. So with all that, guys, that's really great. But also, the idea was simple. Both railroads were built towards each other. The tracks met somewhere in the middle. But the task was anything but simple. They would have to cross mountains, deserts, rivers, and vast wilderness. The Central Pacific Challenge. The Central Pacific Railroad faced one of the most difficult obstacles of the entire project: the Sierra Nevada mountains. Sierra Nevada is a major mountain range in the eastern California, expanding about 400 kilometers, which is 250 miles, north to south along the state edge. It is one of North America's most dramatic and ecological diverse mountain system. These mountains were steep, rocky, and covered in snow during much of the year. To build track through this trail, workers had to blast tunnels through solid granite. The work was incredibly dangerous. Many of the labor building the railroad were Chinese immigrants. These workers played a critical role in construction the Central Pacific Line. They endured harsh weather, dangerous explosions, and extremely difficult working conditions. Despite these challenges, they continued pushing the railroad forward. The Union Pacific Railroad. While the Central Pacific battled mountains, the Union Pacific Railroad faced a difficult set challenges. They built westward across the Great Plains. The terrain was flatter, but the environment was still difficult. Workers dealt with harsh winters, extreme heat, limited supplies. Many of the Union Pacific workers were Irish immigrants and Civil War veterans. Construction crews moved quickly, laid miles of track across open land. Towns began forming along the railroad as it expanded. Some of these towns would later grow into major cities. Racing towards each other. As both railroads pushed forward, something interesting happened. These companies began competing. Both sides wanted to lay as much track as possible. Why? Because the government paid them for each mile of track they built. This competition led to rapid construction. Workers sometimes laid several miles in a single day. The race between the two companies became one of the most intense construction efforts in American history. Finally, after years of work, the two railroads were about to meet. The Gold Spike. On May 10, 1869, the Union Pacific and the Central Pacific Railroads finally connected. The historical moment took place at Promontory Summit, Utah. To celebrate the completion of the railroad, a Seminole gold spike was driven into the final selection of a track. This moment symbolized the completion of the first transcontinental railroad. For the first time in history, a person could travel across the United States by train. What took months could now take just days. The nation had been connected. The impact. The Transcontinental Railroad transformed the United States. It helped expand trade and industrial. It also allowed goods to move quickly between the East and the West. It encouraged migration and settlement across the West Coast territories. Railroad became the backbone of American transportation, and the Transcontinental Railroad became one of the greatest engineering archives of the 19th century. The Transcontinental Railroad changed the course of American history. It connected distant cities, it expanded trade, and it helped build the modern United States. But roads didn't change transportation. They changed how people traveled. They introduced something entirely new: luxury, comfort, and the golden age of passenger trains. Next time here at Trevor Train Station, we'll explore an elegant era of luxury rail travel and the legendary trains that carried passengers across the continents in style. I'm Trevor Shelley. Thank you for stopping by the train station. And remember, all aboard, next stop, history.